like I was saying, and I don't even give a damn about this having this video because he did. I'll delete them, but I'll probably delete this shit and redo it anyway. Um, I know it wasn't me, but anyway, like I was saying before, this kind of you if you understand extroverts and introverts are generally loners. Extroverts, they value human connection, good at it. It's kind of like, are you logical, more analytical, or are you more creative? We're all both, but which ones do you tend to lean on? Which ones do you tend to associate yourself with more and more? Um, More and more. That's all it is. And a lot of folks, it's like now they want to declare, they want to have these little declarations like, oh, well, I'm an individual, and those people are not an individual because those people are making content. Like people trying to say, I'm a political independent and I don't really belong to a party. But at the end of the day, you're either more conservative or you're more liberal. Very rarely do you split the difference like completely halfway. And when people try to like act like that's what they do, they're really not telling the truth about how they get down. They're really not. Because if you actually question them and ask them, you reveal what the truth is. And one of my biggest pet peeves is I shouldn't have to, there's certain levels of honesty or it's not even honesty or transparency. It's like, we're gonna have a conversation. Let's have a fucking conversation. Stop having this surface level shit that I gotta dig through via questioning because you decide to have a fucking opinion. Not only is the opinion that you have is not informed, but the opinion that you have is you haven't even thought your own fucking opinion through. You haven't even thought your own opinion through. What you've done is you have these emotional feelings that you've never really mapped out with logic, never seen from a practical standpoint or a pragmatic standpoint how that shit applies in the real world or lived in the real world in that situation. And what happens is people will come on here, some of them even content creators, and they'll have these fucking feelings. Or especially motherfuckers in the comment section or the chat where they know they don't really have to be accountable to it. And when I say accountable, I mean looking stupid. This is why a lot of folks don't like to come on. Or when they do come on, they sound fucking dumb. Because a lot of shit they're saying, when you say it out loud, it doesn't make sense. Because it's more about agree, disagree. Not why do you agree, why do you disagree, right? So at the end of the day, like I said before, when people are sitting here talking about, well, I'm an introvert, so everybody went like, okay, well, SYSBM, you niggas are doing that because you're lame, which is what is doing that. Declaring that I'm going to do what's in my best interest always, and you're not going to allow things like racial loyalty to interfere with that. If you want me to deal with the community or you want me to deal with something, then at some point the community's going to have to fucking realize that you're going to have to make it make sense for black men to want to deal in the community. There is no group, Hispanics, whatever, there is no other group that just does shit that does shit. If that group is all in, they take control. And they use violence if necessary to maintain control. It usually doesn't come down to that because usually women will check other women. But they will use violence. And when violence is used on an individual basis, they don't basically go to the police. The group basically judges it as a group. This is what our women don't understand. Our women don't understand. This is why our women don't go to other groups. Because if you go to other groups, you're now dealing with how those groups get down. And it's not just the men, it's the women too. This is why, quite frankly, you don't see a lot of black women with African men. Or with Caribbean men more so, but not with African men. Because you're not just dealing with that dude, you're going up against a group. And then you're going up against a family, a culture. Mr. Research talks about that, La Familia. And you got a lot of these Negro, and look, I got issues with family members and stuff like that too. But the thing is, that's this thing about, oh, well, I'm a loner and that's something to stand on, that makes zero sense. And I'm not saying you don't have a right to be on an island. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is, it definitely it sounds doesn't really add up when you go out of your way to try to say that's a virtue, and that, oh well, people that agree or like minded. It's like what people used to say about Red Pill. That's why I put up that Steve the Dean that video in my community tab that Marcus did. Just type in Steve the Queen, Marcus A. Brown, it'll come up. Because he was saying the same shit about Red Pill. Now this nigga belongs to a community called Pickup Artistry, even though he's married. And all that shit is offset pickup. That's all that shit is. Well, no, it's really just about manhood. No, it's not. Because you're only talking about manhood in relationship to bitches. You're talking about it with relationship of just getting a female. So no, that's not manhood. That's how to get pussy. And quite frankly, you could do that just by having your paper right. The end. Having your paper right and dealing with different races of women that value economics. And it's not even about tricking. It's not even about tricking. It's not even about tricking. There are women that value economics that you can say, yeah, man, well, you're not a man. You don't stand on your square. Well, niggas that are broke, look at, like, you can't show me outside of a pimp dudes that are really like 100% running bitches. You can't show me that. These dudes in child support, white men are white, they got white supremacy, yet they getting fleeced. They're getting damn near cuckolded. Like, I can go on and on about that. I don't want to get sidetracked too much. The point is, this idea that dudes are like these absolute loners and that are trying to put it as a group, that shit is fucking dumb. And I hear too many people saying that. This nigga, yeah, man, you know, I'm a free-thinking individual black man, so I don't believe in no groups. I don't believe in that because, you know, I'm a free thinker and da-da-da. Some of these dudes, they are like that. And I got there and I respect them. It's like I'm engaged. No, you're on an extended date and you playing yourself. Stop it. It's like a lot of these dudes, because when you actually map out what they think, they always have other issues that are the real issues. It's just they say that shit as a mechanism to not really, so nobody asks some more questions. They like, I don't like that. And even Jada Black mentioned that. He said a lot of black men don't like shit because it's abnormal. It is abnormal for black men to do what the fuck they want to do because that's what the fuck they want to do. Absence of anybody's opinion on it mattering. That in and of itself is abnormal. Fuck the acronym. Robert F. Smith has given more money to the black community than any of these niggas, including famous people that can lift a fucking finger to say anything. Just the very fact, actually from an inspiration standpoint, that he is the richest black man and the richest black person in the United States of America, and he did it in tech and not in sports, not in sales, and not in rapping. Tells you not in media, should be an inspiration on its face. But he actually shows you how it's done by showing how you can do things that can target things, not because you give a fuck about what anybody thinks, but because you want to do it. And that's how you feel it's the right thing to do, because he does come from two black parents. And by the way, he did marry a mixed woman. So this idea of, well, his kids are more not black than black, that's bullshit, but whatever. It's not even a point. Not even a point. My point is, that in and of itself is inspiration. Then on top of that, he gives more money. Same thing with Don Peebles, who's not a billionaire, but 700 million deep. Giving money, contracts. You know, Robert F. Smith uses his company to do shit. That in and of itself should be inspiration when it comes to entrepreneurship, you know, but no. These niggas want to say, oh, well, that's SYSBM. That's what y'all talking about. Them are about turning the page and not giving a fuck, not really worrying about the community. They're about them and only them. So the act of what Robert F. Smith did would not technically be considered an SYSBM act. Some people might say it is because it is dealing targeted with other black men, but that's not why he did it. He did it because he understood that, quite frankly, if you want to elevate a community, you elevate the men because the women will benefit from that. It's not true in reverse. And I've never heard any nigga that's pro-black or want to make case that what I just said is not true. Women are, see, a lot of your white feminists and a lot of your black feminists, like, you know, the Oprahs, the women that want to start schools for girls all the goddamn time in the third, that shit's ugly as fuck. In the third world, right? In the third world, they say they do that because you elevate a society by educating your women. Oh, okay, that's true. That may, even if I give you that and say that's true, fine, that's true. In the first world, especially in the United States of America, that's uniquely not true. Because in the United States of America, your women have always been more educated than your boys in Black America. That has always been the case. Now let's keep it real. Black men have always been technically more skilled than Black women. So it depends on what you talk about with education. Black women we talk about book smarts. We're not really talking about anything that matters and creates anything. Women being educated are not educated to create. They're educated to manage. At best, at their apex, they're only created to educated to manage. They're never educated to create or use skills to build. If shit breaks down, they can't fix it. Because that's not what they're taught. That's what skilled labor and actually telling motherfuckers what to do is. And which one's more valuable? A manager that has experience in skilled labor? Like, what's more advanced? People talk about IT in theory. Somebody's actually done it, trying to run some shit. But that's a whole nother story. But the point is, so I want people to understand, when people talk about education, skills and education are the same thing. It's just a different form of it. There's 7 different types of intelligence. So when people try to act like Black women are just smarter than Black women, that's not true. Because if that was true, you wouldn't even hear them complain about wanting men for anything outside of physical labor, because the technology is where it is to where that's not necessary. But that's not what's missing. You got a whole bunch of females, quite frankly, they're not skilled, because quite frankly, they don't like STEM like that. And that's not just Black women, that's most women. Asian women, most other women, but most other women are not going into STEM shit or shit that are skilled, because most of your real, true skilled shit outside of a couple of pockets here or there. Let's keep it real. And that's with them being damn me forced to do it. That being, in things that like I try to say, that doesn't apply to us. It never has. But going back to the loner shit, on the one hand, people say, oh, you niggas need a group because you niggas ain't got nobody. So it's, that makes no sense, because at the number one, people that are like-minded are going to group together. That's true for any area of activity. That's true for dudes. That's true for dudes that typically only fuck Black women tend to congregate around dudes that tend to only fuck Black women. Dudes that don't really care tend to congregate around dudes that don't care. That's true for sex, labor, law. That's true for any area of activity. Like-minded people tend to congregate around like-minded people. That's human nature. And it's always been that. This is why you see like race, when race is, because it's what you hear people say. Race is a social construct. That's what you hear people say. So if that's true, then people are grouping around race. Religion is another thing. That's a social construct. That's what social means. So now I have to explain to niggas that first they wanted to say, that's why it's being with some individualized loners on some Jeffrey Dahmer, like the Unabomber shit. Now these same motherfuckers want to then talk about the virtue of not being in a group. And you only hear Black men say that. You talk to a white man for the most part, you talk about plugging in the networks. And that's true no matter what class you're talking about. You talk to Hispanics, I have every fucking 2 weeks, I got a damn Latin party that's going on my street, where them motherfuckers come in and build a big ass tent for whoever the fuck to come over, and they playing like Mexican songs and shit. And the whole neighborhood has to hear the shit. We're cool with it because it doesn't happen like often enough to be an issue. And it's like, all right, whatever, we'll just let them do that. We're gonna be assholes about it because it's like bi-monthly, so it is what it is. It's on a Friday anyway. But the point is, why do you think you go to the fucking club? It makes no sense. Are you going to network or are you just going to hunt for pussy? To be fair, like I said, some of the people that I'm dealing with, some of the people that I respect, that kind of can be looped into this, they understand it. They just have a brand of kind of, on my opinion. You don't ever see me bend my opinion for nobody unless it makes sense. You ain't seen me ever do that. I'm probably one of the most individualized, free-thinking dude on this bitch. Because I've actually brought shit to this shit. Whereby other people, and to be fair, Sigma is somebody that I consider like that, that's individualized, that's brought shit to the yard. But most of these niggas are not bringing shit to the yard. Most of these niggas are carrying water for other people. Sigma, who else? So there's others, but Sigma comes to mind more than anybody right now. There's probably brought shit to the yard. You know, shout out, I get Fantastic in there. Ramil, they've brought shit to the yard. Whether you agree with the opinions or not, they've put stuff out there that, you know, you really got to challenge. And if you want to challenge it, you really got to challenge it. You can't just dismiss it. And that's why they tend to get the support that they get. And get it. And shout out to you all as the audience for giving it to them. And when I say support, I'm talking about actual money. None of these niggas have said. You've heard Ramil basically take SYSBM to task. King Sigma considers himself SYSBM. I consider myself more in the outskirts of it because I have my own fucking opinions that sometimes diverge from them. And when it diverges, it's okay. I'm probably more in line with what Igmore philosophy is than to say SYSBM. But a lot of Igmores are coming a lot more around to SYSBM versus it used to be separate. They're understanding. They're like, look, man, I get it. Fuck that. I get these chicks. And I get that you don't want to fuck with them. And quite frankly, I get that you don't even want to fuck them. A lot of Igmores did not understand that at first. And I still think you can fuck whoever you want and still come back to black, whether it's American or not American. But a lot of Igmores held the line on that a lot harder. Now you don't see that they do anymore. They've understood, and not because SYSBM did anything, but because black women have just done some shit, ungodly shit, that quite frankly, Igmore, you hear Igmores like, you know, Knights Templar, like the top three biggest Igmores as far as channels is BGS, Black Ram, and you could argue Black Ram is bigger than BGS if you make the argument, because he definitely can get the more live viewers, but they're pretty much, they're on the same. And then Knights Templar, those are like the top three, and outside of the people that actually created the shit, and they all sound a lot more closer to SYSBM in theory than they don't. You know, that split is a lot more convoluted than it used to be. At that point, it's just whatever issues people behind the scenes have as far as whoever created what and all of that. But at the end of the day, because Igmore is pretty much about you doing what the fuck you want to do too. The key difference with Igmore is Igmore understood, the Igmore valued having a black community, whether it's a separatist community, which we do our own shit, and then we just deal kind of like how the Nation of Islam is, but not under Muslim. It's under what the fuck people want. But they understand. They understand a lot more than they did at first. And then and I know that because so the point is, you know, when people, all these groups is just technologies of networking. We're going to go to this clubhouse and we're going to, you know, talk about SYSBM or Igma. No, that's never what it's been. The niggas, let's be absolutely clear here. The niggas that subscribe to these ideologies are a lot more individualistic than a lot of the dudes that don't. And most of the dudes that don't, if they still agree with it, it's just they're not on the channels and shit. Because some of these people, you don't see them in the manosphere like that anyway. Like Jada Black has always done his own thing, only doing interviews with people every once in a while. A solo here, O'Shea there, but he's built this channel from the ground up off his own shit, and I got respect for that. I mean, I can name a couple of people that's done that. Knights Templar, you don't see on other people's shit like that. He does his own shit. Shout out to Ticket TV, who's not even in the manosphere. You know, he's in the sports section. There are people that do their own shit. And even him, he's talking about the Lions, the LDBC, the Lions Den basketball community. So it's not about being in some kind of clubhouse where you got to slick your hand and by blood and by death, you're united. That's not what it is. It's never been what it is. And anybody that says that, anybody that tries to allude to that, they're really being disingenuous when they do that. They're being disingenuous as hell when they do that. Anyway, give me 1 second. Let me see. I'm at the barbershop finally. Fucking been here 10 minutes before if it wasn't for the fucking gas station. Y'all put some shit in the comment section. In the chat. And I'll get back to y'all in a second. So anyway, that's all it is. And this is not me trying to, ooh, dang, this is not me trying to beat somebody up or say, they're stupid. It's really not. This is me just trying to map that out. But that's something I've heard. Number one, I've heard it not be really truly addressed. And number two, because see, that's something that people can say, well, oh man, it's, ooh, you all are in these little hair. It's just, it's stuff that you're interested in. And people think, see, what people like to think is they want to make it sound like, oh, well, you're fighting the thing and this thing is manipulating you. You would be doing what you would normally be doing for this thing. Most dudes are not online. Most dudes that are doing what we're talking, like they're practicing this, are not online. Most of the dudes that have options exercise those options. You do not see dudes that have options. And when I say options, I'm not just, because there's two types of options. There's two types of currency. Remember, there's two types of social coins. Let's call it that. There's economic currency. And when I say economic currency, social, well, really, there's three. Really, three. There's social status. So, who are you connected to? There's your own personal. There's economic currency. So, which is kind of, well, economic currency, social status, and basically genetic currency. These are the three currencies. Dudes have, it's like, if you playing a video game, they have like some of all three. Some people are, it's like a report card. Let's say it like that. And at the end of the day, if you're like in the stratosphere on any one of those things, that can compensate for the others. But the point is, if you have those currencies, or you have any one of those currencies in like hyper amounts, you have options. And options also is predicated on what type of females that you're even willing to deal with. Like when we talk about Solo will talk about Minnesota sevens and all that. At the end of the day, man, it doesn't, especially with black men, only thing a chick got to do is not be ugly, have a fat ass, be in shape, and dudes like fall into what they like. It depends on how a chick acting. So when you deal with motherfuckers in the famous world versus the actual real on the ground world, which is where a lot of us are, I mean, the shit is not that hard. This is why we have Roger talk about women to give a pussy up. I definitely do agree with that. So the point is, that's in the United States. So the point is, it just depends on what you're trying to deal with and what levels. Dudes, you can have an ideal, but you're definitely willing to settle. Maybe not as far as committing to a woman when it comes to who you fucking. We all have those settle numbers. We all have our ideals, and we all have what we're willing to settle. As far as for right now, we all have that. Some of us have more stringent practices than others, but we all have it. So the point is this, any dude has options, or exercise them. You don't have dudes that are basically saying, I have these options, I'm being chose, but at the same time, or I can get to a certain extent what I want, but at the same time, I'm sacrificing my options for the idea of keeping it black. Because most dudes understand at the end of the day, especially about it, if they don't have kids. If I want to have kids, I give a fuck about having kids that are black, or whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm just saying, if that's what you think, where you need to go, how you need to go to make that happen. It's not that complicated. But most dudes are not thinking about that. Most dudes, when they have kids, they're having oops babies. They're not actually family planning. Unlike they're having oops babies, and it's just, well, I might as well jump now because I'm already over the hill with it. That's how that works. And we know that's how that works. When you got dudes that are pretty deliberate about that, like they're like, look, I'm not trying to have kids, so I'm gonna make sure I don't have kids. They don't typically have kids. When you got dudes that are in the gray zone, which is kind of, I'm not really thinking about that, I don't care, then a lot of times, especially if you get in a lot of sex, these women will do an extra trick here or there to get you over that hump. And then before you know it, she's pregnant. And that's getting harder and harder, quite frankly, because a lot of these dudes are getting smarter and smarter. And they realize why the numbers of men that are not having kids have increased. That's why that number's growing, because dudes are getting smarter about that. So at the end of the day, this idea of people coming together over like minds or interests, because you ain't really seen nobody actually form Voltron. You have not seen black men really form Voltron online yet. You have not seen that. Let me be absolutely clear here. You all have not seen that. You have not seen that. You have not really seen men come together as a group and as a unit and really pull resources together. Because when you see that, most of the people that are talking what they're talking, like for instance, the white boys, and this is just to give you a perfect example. The white boys have the 21 convention. The white boys and a lot of the and, let me, and I gotta say this, I gotta be fair. Look, I don't care about the 21 convention. I have no issues with that. Shout out to that. You know, I have no problem with black men dealing with that. They can do what they want out of it. But this is what I find funny. So you've got Steve the Dean basically talking. This is what kills me about Steve. You got Steve the Dean that he will say, I don't want to, I'm an individual. Y'all are corrupt dudes. I'm trying to protect the kids. This is the stupid shit that he'll say. But this dude is on his knees begging to, a lot of the issues that happened behind the scenes why he was gone from the manosphere the first time was over the 21 convention. That dude wants to be validated by other white men so bad. It ain't even about getting a paper. That's not even what it is. Ward. That's what he wants. So he's trying to belong to a group of like-minded white men. But when it comes to black men, he has a problem with that. And this is how a lot of these guys are. They want to, like, the hypocrisy is like fucking crazy. It really is, because it makes no sense. And when you actually look at these dudes, all they're doing is they're just throwing mud at the goddamn wall and seeing what sticks. And I'm going to keep it real, a lot of it shouldn't even be addressed because they can't really do nothing but make videos. They really can't. And a lot of the dudes that they're focused on, here's the funny thing. It's like an iceberg. Most of the dudes that are really practicing SYSBM are not online. So if you focus on the few dudes, and I'm talking about the dudes that a lot of these people are really hurting that are doing it, dudes that will otherwise make great black men and create great black families. There's a channel by the name of Raw Ready. Shout out to the Telegram, y'all. They brought that to my attention. Go type it in. Go type in Raw Ready SYSBM, and the channel will come up. And that dude talks about being a red pill father. He's clearly taking care of his boys. Like, some of the stuff he said is actually some really good stuff. He's not making a whole bunch of videos. Dominican Republic, I believe somebody said that Nicole Michelle praised him as like one of the examples of the black men that people in her stuff should be trying to get. So I assume these are the types of black men the April Mason, these femininity chicks are trying to teach to get. Guess what? He's closed. He's closed. These are the dudes that, if you actually put them, these are the dudes that they actually are trying to get. Line up in age. They trying to settle with these dudes. Dudes that are attorneys, dudes that are showing what they're doing, dudes that got properties, built their stuff up. He's closed for business. And he even said, yeah, I'm SYSBM in practice. Business. He's living his best life. He's doing what the dream that Charles Fowler was talking about. And he ain't being out about it. He's not being in a group like they say. He's saying, I understand where they're coming from. I agree with it. I don't like, by the way, Dean Covington kind of said the same thing from what I'm to understand. And he's also in the DR. Other dudes more light skinned, other dudes dark skinned. Financial dude. Always talk about your credit. Glendon Cameron is another example. Even though he has said he does not deal with red pill at all, don't come to him with that red pill shit. In practice, Glendon Cameron don't date black women like that. And that's because that's what he said. He said, like exactly what I just said, he said. And he said it on more than one occasion. He got a black kid with a black woman because he was married, and then he's living his best life. He's fit. Like, he don't want really to talk about red pills and with the stuff on the ground with a lot of different things. So don't go over there and talk about, you red. Don't even bring that up. There's no point. Why? Why do you need to bring it up when it's already in practice what's going on anyway? You see what I'm saying? Like, nobody cares. Like, I don't give a shit about an acronym. I don't give a shit about a hashtag. That shit is done for promotional. When you're trying to market, when I say market, when you try, it's no different than, like, for instance, the Star Wars, the Phantom Menace, like stuff like that. It's some fun shit. But they make it like, oh my God, these are anti-black movements. No, they're anti-gynocratic. Gynocratic. If you want to merge gynocratic and black, then you can go so do that. But at the end of the day, it's not anti-black. Oh, well, sleeping with other women, that's anti-black. Because keep in mind, like I was on Donnie's panel, shout out to Donnie, and there's a woman on here by the name Daphne, and we agreed on everything for the most part, and she seemed like a smart sister, but it was like, I could tell there was a little rub there, because there's another dude on there, and he was like, yeah, man, I can't, I just, I tried fucking white women. I tried it to see what it was like, but I didn't like it. So I mean, like, okay, dude, and I didn't want to ask him that because I didn't want to go there and sidestep the conversation. But I was gonna ask him. I was like, okay, so you're pro blackness, in fact, it's a black women. That's really all it is, because that's what it sounds like. It sounds like you're only pro-black, or you only give a fuck about the black people to the extent that black women make your dick hard. And what difference is that than somebody that's LGBT saying I'm pro LGBT because I fit in one of those categories, no matter what race or whatever. This is how a lot of these people talk about. Because let's keep it real. Because he was trying to tell me the difference between dating and marriage. He was trying to tell me, well, dating is you're trying to build something with somebody. No, it's dating. That's not what dating means. Dating does not mean you're trying to build something with somebody. Dating is pretty much more closely aligned with casual sex. Now, dating can lead into, you doing something that's more permanent, but that doesn't mean nothing. Just like when you hear black females always talking about, oh, well, you're dating white women. See, this is how they think it is. And I knew exactly what he was saying when he said it, because that's how they see it. Oh, you're building with them. You're dating. You're not dating on me shit. Most dudes date the fuck. If they didn't have to date, and if most dudes, if they don't have to date to have sex with a woman, they won't. So dating doesn't mean nothing. That's a means to an end. Dating and marriage, but see, this is the gynocratic female logic. And I'm not trying to say a dude is a female or masculine, but I'm just saying this is the programming. This is where you get that shit from. But it was this rub about who you're fucking. And I'm like, yo, if black men fuck nothing but non-black women and never fucked a black woman except to have kids with a black woman, and they did that consistently, I wouldn't give a shit. Now, somebody will say in reverse, well, what if black women did that? Well, hey, if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. Let's go see if you can do that. First of all, men and women are different. So that would psychologically harm a woman. Psychologically. But you can go find that out, the hard way. Anyway, but the point is, a lot of these arguments that they're making doesn't stand up. They don't. Nah, Archie, you're right. They don't see the value of Robert Smith's actions. Because again, black people they're not used, but whatever. And you never see these women actually say, we need to have a conversation about why are we always losing our men? What is it about us that we're losing our men to other groups? Not, oh, well, it doesn't matter what we do. These are going to do what they want to do because they just want to do it anyway. Well, if that's the case, it would have been messed up. Yeah, absolutely, Black Haru. Just because you stay and save yourself. But see, these dudes don't want. A lot of y'all, especially the older cats, are just passing down wisdom. That's it. But they don't see it that way. They see it as a threat. Because you have to understand, the reason why these people see stuff as a threat so much is because they see you as an other. They see them as fundamentally separate. And a lot of that lets you know absolutely that we're not on the same team. We're not. Because the reality of the situation is they see men as a resource, and they see you diluting that resource, or at least preaching a message that can lead to diluting a resource. Now, common sense should tell them that all these dudes are not on YouTube. This idea that people are coming to YouTube and going SY stupid on its face. Because if that was true, the movement would be a lot bigger. If you actually look at some of these female channels and look at how much numbers that they're doing, the numbers that we're doing, we do not have that same promotional message. We don't. Now, there's some folks that listen to us on the low, but it's not that big. So the fact that they take it that seriously should tell you a lot. To the point where they always have it in their mouth should tell you a lot. And a lot of black men, they don't. It is what it is, because as the media gets more liberalized, the shit is gonna get hurt. Because again, who people are hearing? Look, more people, less people have heard about what SY is about, what Nas heard about Nas, and what Khalees said. Then I heard about Lady Love and what she said. SYSBM is not. It's not like, okay, women are putting up a great face, right? And they're putting up a great like mirage, a great matrix, so you can't see shit. And SYSBM is just taking rocks and throwing it in the glass. It's the matrix and constantly breaking it, saying, look at that, trying to convince people. Most dudes are coming. A lot of dudes are coming to this shit wondering why are these bitches tripping like that? Why is Lonnie Love saying what she's saying? Why is Khalees saying what she's saying? Why did K Michelle say what she say? And they're having that conversation. They're falling into it. The biggest promoter of that's another stream. That's the next stream I'm doing. I might do it later today, and I got it in the video. The greatest promoter of SYSBM is black women. That's my next stream. All right. Anyway, I appreciate y'all hanging out. I may talk about that, Ray Alexander. Anyway, this is